The Bethel Pilots are enjoying the riches of a week in which they were money against Grace and Indiana Wesleyan. We'll take a look at the highlights. Caleb Laidig is violating the commandment of thou shalt not steal. We'll check in with the Bethel defensive standout. It's all on the line in this week's edition of Inside Bethel Basketball. And hi again, everybody. I'm Chuck Freeby, along with Bethel coach Mike Lightfoot. Welcome to another edition of Inside Bethel Basketball. And what a week it was for the Pilots, taking on two of the top teams in the Mid-Central Conference. A week where if Bethel could somehow vanquish both those foes, they would sit all alone atop the MCC. Well, lo and behold, that's exactly where you are, Mike Lightfoot. Congratulations on a stellar week by your ball club.
It was a great week. You know, you look back before this week took place, we could have been in really a tough situation if we stumble and lose those two games. But I was really proud of how we responded, especially with rivals and big foes, and knowing that both games are going to be really big for us. We know we're going to have to go out and play well, and we really did some really good things in the Grace game. I felt, especially through the first half, we really set the tone, playing great defense, great team defense, great individual defense. And then going to Indiana Wesleyan and playing another packed house on the road and getting another win was really big for our ball club right now.
Well, there was probably no better medicine for the Bethel Pilots than to have the boys from Winona Lake come up. And what a crowd inside the Gates Gymnasium. If you had a seat, consider yourself among the fortunate, because a lot of people didn't. William Walker gave people plenty to cheer about. He goes baseline, then he goes back into the lane. He was virtually unstoppable in the first half.
Well, we tried to get a lot of touches to William early. You know, that was our game plan. And, you know, one of the things that William's done a great job of is being able to pass and cut and move. And, you know, this was a big three by Mark Lediga, and we all know that he's struggled at times this year, but this was probably his best game of the year as well. And then, you know, Tyler's been able to get to the basket, and he's playing with, an injury. But I just felt that their whole team came out and played with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy, got a lot of good looks, and there's another big slam by William.
The thing that stands out to me, Coach, as I look at these highlights is the spacing that you had on offense. Nobody was getting jammed up. People stayed within their space, and that allowed a lot of one-on-one opportunities with good ball movement.
Well, you know, if we can do those things and keep spread out, then allows us to pass and cut and gives us a lot more mobility in our offense. And when we're not at our best is when we really kind of stand around and don't have very good spacing at all. But in this game, I think everything was happening for us from the inside, and there's Caleb hitting from the outside. And that put a lot of pressure on the defense of Grace College.
And, of course, speaking of defense, Caleb transitions well from the three, gets the steal, gets the assist, the bomb and the bump for Ryan Lightfoot right there. Bethel made it look easy against Grace. Goodness knows it never is, but 81-61 over the Lancers on this day. Bethel had to handle a tough road trip against a top 10 squad nationally in Indiana Wesleyan. You go and make the trip down to Marion and came out playing well.
And we really did. I thought, here we took Tyler Brown inside with a jump hook, and we're able to, distribute the ball and, do some great things to kick out there against their zone. Wes Laidig had a great half for us, really gave us a spark off the bench, and this was a game where I think our bench really came through and played great minutes for us, and in a very hostile environment, to say the least, you saw a lot of good things happen.
Indeed. Indiana Wesleyan probably had its biggest crowd of the year for this one. Standing room only. You mentioned Wes Laidig off the bench. Here's the highlight film of his life here in the first half.
Well, we had what we call a Wes moment where, he got in great position, opened up. He's a great spot-up shooter, knocked in those shots, and at the same time was going against, a 6'9" post player, so he had to do some really good things there. But he was on fire, and you can just see that that really gave us a boost from the bench. Here's another steal by Wes and another layup. So that spurt that gave us a kind of a cushion we needed.
Why didn't he dunk there?
I don't think that Wes has got that in his repertoire of skills as the slam dunk. I think he's more of a laid-up type guy.
I'm surprised you had repertoire in your repertoire. Bethel over Indiana Wesleyan, 76-70, the fourth straight win over Indiana Wesleyan. Defense is certainly one of the things that Mike Lightfoot has emphasized on all his Bethel teams over his tenure at Bethel College. And one of the players playing the best defense on this Bethel squad right now is Caleb Laidig, and the young man out of Penn High School joins us here on the set. And when you were at Penn, you had to lead the offense for Dean Foster's team. Now your role has somewhat changed. They still want some offense out of you here, but you've really become one of the defensive standouts. Talk about making that adjustment to college basketball.
Yeah, definitely. High school, I mean, defensive things weren't emphasized as much, but now every day at practice, defense is emphasized so much. You know exactly what you have to do, exactly where you have to be. And when intensity and defense is stressed that much, playing a game is just easy for you.
We were talking in your office this week about what his strengths are defensively, and certainly his size at 6'5", but playing guard makes him a difficult matchup for a lot of guards in your league.
One of the things we try to do with Caleb is expose those the strengths, and especially he can post smaller guards up. And plus, his length allows us to get a lot of rebounds at the guard position. So there's just a lot of good things you can see here. You know, Caleb getting a steal and a dunk in the Huntington game. And he's one of the very few guards in our league, you know, is at 6'5" or 6'6", and can do the things that he can do for us.
Now, we've already seen 2 dunks out of you. What about your cousin? Why wasn't he dunking in the highlights?
We always have that joke around the locker room. Wes just wasn't blessed with that ability to jump, I don't think. Every once in a while you'll see one at practice, but it's not definitely, I'd want him shooting more than I want him dunking.
What is it like to play with your cousin on the same team?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I've been playing with him forever.
Sure.
It's fun to be out there every day. I mean, we still always get in our arguments like we always have, but it's fun to just be out there with him.
And the community has known the Laidigs for a long, long time, but they've always been a special family when it comes to Bethel College.
Oh, they are. They're just a great family, a great combination of families that have huddled over there in Madison Township, and you know, anybody that's been associated with the Laidig family knows it's a quality group of people.
Was there really a choice when it came to college, or was it pretty easy for you to select Bethel?
Definitely there was some choices, but when it came down to it, I couldn't pass up the opportunity I had here. Just great guys, that's what sold it to me, great coaching staff. The tradition is, you can't beat it. I mean, you're playing for a championship every year. Can't beat that.
Well, so far that is the truth, and it's a little bit different. This is one of the reasons why the program has turned around in recent years.
Absolutely, and he did have a lot of choices, and it was very competitive in the recruiting for Caleb, because there was a lot of people in our own conference that really wanted him very badly. So we felt it was a great opportunity for us, and we really are happy that he's with Bethel.
What do you think it is that you bring to the table for this team, Caleb? Because there's so much talent on the floor out there. You got guys like Will and Ryan. What do you see as your role and the talents that you bring?
Definitely, I think it starts defensively, and then I think I can add some things offensively too. But I think a lot of it is off the court. I mean, we just all get along together so well, and I mean, when you love each other that much, and off the court, it's easy to play for each other on the court, and it just. You can see it in our play. We play hard not just to win, but for each other. We're playing hard. It's just fun out there.
And of course at Bethel, it's not all about basketball. There's other facets of life too, academics and spirituality. Talk about how your teammates help you with both of those areas.
Oh yeah, definitely. We have like Bible studies weekly. There's some great leaders, Corey Lance, and some other guys are just great spiritual leaders. If you ever have a question, there's guys to go to about anything you're doing in life. And then it just makes it that much better for basketball.
He mentioned the closeness of this squad, and that's evident anytime you spend even a little bit of time around them. That's not the case with every team, but it does seem that the more successful teams have that quality about them. When you recruit, how do you look for chemistry so that you've got guys that get along well?
That's a difficult thing sometimes, because you don't know the agenda. You just have to try to know a little bit about their background, get to know their families a little bit more, and just see if they're in it, if it's all about them or if it's about the team. And we've got guys right now that really care about the whole team and making sure that we're successful as a team.
What impresses you about Caleb off the floor?
Well, he's a great student. He's a great person. You just can't find a better person. And, you know, he's going to do well. No matter what he does down the road, he's going to have an impact on people's lives. And so, you know, I just think he's just a man of character, a man that's going to be a person of integrity in whatever endeavor he gets involved in down the road.
When your time at Bethel College is done, and I'm assuming you're not making the leap from Bethel to the MBA, so what is it that you want to be able to do with your life?
I'm not quite sure yet. I've got a couple years to decide, but I'm an accounting major. I'd probably take some path with that. Not quite sure yet. I've always want to get into coaching, so I don't know if that might be down in my future, so I'm not quite sure.
Well, Caleb, we're happy to have you on the show today. Best of luck to you as the season goes along.